This is a leadership insight that can change how you deal with your team and with all the people working for you or with you in this case. My name is Guilherme and I'm a project management expert. I help professionals to become successful project managers. How I do that in practice, I provide training, one-on-one mentoring, consulting. So if your goal is to develop your project management skills, my goal is to help you here. Before I start, don't forget this to like and share this video here so it can go to more people can learn leadership so we have better leaders in companies there. And also, don't forget this content is here as part of the warm-up for the Project Management Summit. The Project Management Summit, it's a free event I'm going to make where I'm going to show you the project management mastery journey and I'm going to teach you how to improve your skills to succeed to get to a level of a top achiever there. Everything is free. The only thing you need to do, click in the link and subscribe. So what I'm going to discuss or the insight I'm going to share with you happened with me when I was first promoted for a project manager position there. So to give you some background, I started my career as a planning and controlling engineer. What does it mean in practice? Basically, the team had a project manager and I was the planner and controller for the project. So I was directly reporting to the project manager. I was taking care of a lot of stuff, like I was creating the timeline, making the estimations, doing weekly meetings with the team, but I was reporting to the project manager that had the lead for the project. So a lot of times the project manager come to me, hey, you need to take care of this, you need to review these, I need this from you, I need this kind of report. And of course, we would align how to move forward. But so that's how I started my career in 2009. In 2012, I was promoted to a project manager position. At the time, 2012, when I was promoted, was February of 2012, I was 25 years old. So I was, of course, very excited because the project, my dream job was to be a project manager. I finally got the opportunity there. But then I stepped up and suddenly I had someone reporting to me because now I was there to lead the team to execute something. And one of the insights that I mentioned as a planner and controller, one of the things I was doing, I've already mentioned, I create a timeline, and based on the timeline, I would create an S-curve to track a project. If you don't know, an S-curve is basically a graph where it helps you to track the progress of the project and to make sure that you are adding value there and not just burning cost. If you're interested on that, I have another video for that one. But I'm not stay here with me. I'm not going to explain this in detail. But after this one, if you are interested, you just go to my channel. There's a video where even I show an S curve and the details how to build one. So closing the brackets here, coming back to the lesson. So you can imagine that if I was doing that for about 2 years, and if I was promoted because I was good in what I was doing, and everybody has his or her particular way to do things. It is, of course, not different with me. I like to organize my stuff in a certain way. I think some things for me they are more logical in a certain way. And it's important that you realize here that's no right or wrong. People are just different. So it's not important exactly only how you're doing something, but it's also important the result. Of course, the how it's important making sure that you're following the rules, you're doing everything legally, you're not doing something that creates more damage than gets the result there. Another closing that bracket. So when I was promoted, I get suddenly someone reporting to me and I ask the person, hey, create the timeline for the project there, or we already had a draft timeline because I created, but I told the person saying, the guy, I need you to create the S curve. So that S curve needs to be, in this case, was based on the work breakdown structure, and there were some instructions from the customer how they would like to have the weights in the work breakdown structure in the S curve to make sure that they could align with the broad project because this project was an expansion of a mining company. So basically, my project, me as a project manager, I was the responsible for the high voltage power supply, meaning they had a substation of 200,000 volts there. They were double the capacity of the mine, so they mean that they need more energy, so they were increasing the size of the substation there. So how the mine project would work, they would require for all the suppliers to have an S curve with harmonized, with a coordinated work breakdown structure there with different levels, because then they could consolidate it in their general view for the entire project, or in this case, an entire program there. That's the expansion of the mind. And I asked this guy, okay, I want you to do that. And he said, yes, yes, I did that. And then he sent to me for review, of course, because he was reporting to me. Then I start to look at the WBS, and I caught myself thinking, yeah, but I don't like this. I would not do like that. I would do this in a different way. I would have done in a different way. And suddenly I had an insight. Uh, I just stopped myself, and I'll pay attention in what I was thinking and say, hey, but is this a problem? The way he did the WBS, the work breakdown structure for the S curve, is that a problem because the result from what he did is going to be bad? Meaning he creates something that in the end we are going to present to the customer, and the customer will complain, will reject, and will create future problems there. We are not going to be able to track the project accordingly, or so on. Or is the way he create and organize stuff is only different from what I would do myself? And when I had this insight, I stopped everything, because pay attention to this. And because in other leadership trainings, I also discussed that with some other people, and I got a lot of leaders thinking about that, because this is a very crucial and fundamental point, and I'm going to explain to you why. If it's a problem for the project, the result's going to be bad. So yes, you as a leader, you should guide your team member to do something different, so you get the result that you want in the end. But if the problem is you would have done a different way, that's your leadership problem. Because here's the very important thing: nobody else is going to think exactly like you or like me. If you do stuff, you have your own way to do stuff. And again, as long as you do this in a proper way, a legal way, following the procedures, and the result is good, your way or my way does not matter much. So you as a leader, you should not try to put the way that you like to do things for other people, because then you're not trying to lead people. What's the problem with that? You're not going to find anybody that's going to do things exactly like you. If you try to do that, what happens a lot of times, you're going to micromanage people, you are going to get frustrated yourself, you're going to frustrate people in your team, and in the end you have a problem with the scale. Because if you want everything to be done in your own way, how you're going to manage a big project? If you want to check what everyone else is doing, and you want to influence what everyone else is doing to be done in your own way, that's a crucial problem for a leader, because then you cannot scale. In this case, what I was thinking is, hey, what he did is correct. There's no fundamental issue with what he was doing here. Okay, I would have done it a different way. Fine, we are different people. If I need to do it myself, then I cannot take other responsibilities as a project manager. So if I want to be a project manager, and I want to take care of bigger projects, bigger teams, I need to understand that nothing is going to be done exactly in the same way that I would have done it myself. Because the only way that you can get the result exactly as if you would have done it is doing it yourself. And by default, that's a problem. Can you imagine if you have a team with 10 people and you want the 10 people to do exactly what you do? So you're going to spend reviewing the documentation or micromanaging the 10 people, because you say, you should have done that way. You should have written this email in that way. You should have written this report in that way. And in the end, that's not your goal as a leader. Your goal as a leader is getting the best of your team. We are all different people, so you can contribute. And let me bring what happened. I think a couple of years ago, I was in a leadership training there, and we were having a discussion, and someone Another leader, he was another manager from another area. He mentioned, I have a problem because in this case was his case was the lab that I have people testing items and they were not exactly as I want. And I did ask him this question, say, hey, maybe here I'm seeing that in different way because of course when you talk about testing something, you have the protocol that you need to follow to test something, but you are saying that what's the problem? They're not following the protocol, which will lead the test to fail or which will lead to a test issue, or is you're saying that's a problem because they were not doing stuff as you would have done yourself? And this guy, when I said that to him, he just stopped and said, that's a very good point. And he get puzzled and he starts to make notes. So that's a very fundamental insight that a lot of people in leadership or management positions they don't have because they want stuff in their way. So forget about it. If you want to work in a team and if you want to have a team that has a high performance there, your goal is not micromanage your team. Your goal is not telling your team exactly what they need to do, step by step, micromanaging everything. If you try to do that, you're never going to have a scale. What do I mean by scale? You want to go further in your career? Do you want to promote to get higher projects? So this project I started there, I had reporting to me directly to people. And if I would have in the beginning I just mentioned that I want to do exactly my way, then I had this insight. And every time I was paying attention in how I was leading the team. Every time I would get something and I would start, I don't like it. And say, okay, so hold on. What's the problem that you don't like this? Is the problem that you would have done in a different way? Or the problem is the result's going to be bad? And you can imagine because if I was working in a planner and controlling position, and then I promoted to a project manager position, and I get a planner and controller reporting to me. So this guy there, he was doing exactly the stuff that I was doing before my promotion. So I knew every detail, all the intrinsic stuff, how things should run. So my goal was not to micromanage him. My goal was to help him also to develop. So of course, because I knew everything, I could guide him. Hey, what if this happened? What if? Then you will start to ask questions. But and you pointed out, you made clear what our goal here, what are the boundaries that we operate together, and then you can grow as a team. Then you can work in a bigger project. In some other project, I had more people reporting to me. And then you get more complex projects because then you have different pieces moving around. And that's something even more interesting if you don't have people reporting to you directly. Because a lot of times as a project manager, you are going to work in a matrix organization. What's a matrix organization? There's an engineering department, a quality department, a construction department, or a manufacturing department, and they are going to assign someone, each of those departments are going to assign someone to work into your project. But you can imagine if you are the project manager that you want to micromanage these people, you are even in a worse situation. Because in the case that when I had this insight, it happened with people reporting directly to me. So my influence there was much. I just say, okay, I'm your boss. I'm telling you to do like that. This is not a good way to approach any team, by the way. It's not a good way to communicate with your team, by the way. But anyway, that I could have done. But if you have people that they do not report to you, you say, I want you to do that, then the person can say, no, I'm not. You have the influence, of course, because in theory, as a kind of dotted line, as we call in corporate world, that means that in the project, this person needs to report to you, but functionally, this person reports for someone else. So in the end, the functional manager has a lot to say. If the functional manager say, I agree with my team member, we are not going to do it like that, you might have a problem. And of course, you might create a relationship problem also with your team members if you are trying to do that. So keep in mind this insight I'm mentioning to you here. This is something that's I wish someone had told me. Gladly, I had the insight myself very early stage, for at least in this case, for a lot of stuff I had to learn in the hard way after facing challenges. But this is a very important insight that will make you a better leader and a better project manager. Your goal as a leader, as a project manager, is you're going to make it clear what's the final goal for the project there. You're going to discuss with the team what's the plan, what's the path to reach this goal. And again, you're going to discuss with the team, you're going to co-create this plan together. You should not say that's the path because someone might say, oh, but there's a roadblock here or we cannot do like that, and you need to learn how to deviate. So that's a discussion uh, that needs to be co-created with your team there. And you should help your team to progress there. You should help people to develop there. You should help people to organize themselves so they can deliver value. Why? Because in the ideal world, you want your team to perform without you there. This is very important inside here. What you are going to do if your team is working the day to day without you? Well, you're going to work in your anticipation there. And by the way, there's another content just talking about anticipation. That's basically risk management. I'm not going to overextend the discussion here because I have a full class talking about that one. Just go in the YouTube channel or my Instagram, whatever you're watching this, and check this one. So pay attention in what you're doing there as a leader. Remember, you lead the team. Does not mean that you need to do all the work by yourself. And does not mean that you need to tell your team step by step they need to do it. Does not mean that the team needs to follow your own way. Because a lot of times, if you're working a good team, you're going to figure out that there's a better way than the way that you had in your mind. There's a better way that your own way. And that's how you and as a team you can grow together. Because you can imagine, say, I have my own way. Then you have another team member that say, but I think this way is better. So you have a discussion, you have alignment, you find a third possible way that includes some insights from you, some insights from other team members, and you find something that's much better than you have thought in the beginning. That's how you work in a plan. That's how you're going to work in all the tasks, all the risk, everything that you do there. But the key item here is don't get stuck into your own ego. Just because things are not in the way that you would have done yourself doesn't mean that those things are wrong. Keep in mind, remember here all the discussion that I had just to close my story there. What had happened then? After I taught myself, I review everything very truly. What the guy did was good. It was different from I would have done it, maybe the wording, the organization, but the final result was good. So I told him, okay, send to the customer for approval. Customer reviewed, provide some feedback here and there that we could align, but in the end, the work was good. What would have happened if I decide to redo everything else? I would take a lot of my time to redo a work that was already good. That means zero value added. That means that you're wasting your time with something that's not adding anything for your team. I would have let, I would be frustrated because then, okay, it's a lot of work to redo everything from scratch. So I was doing work, I would be frustrated. I would frustrate my team member because he'll say, oh, this guy does not trust me. This guy does not trust my work. And that would not help our relationship to go together to deliver the project there. Keep this in mind. Just because things are not in your way does not mean that they're wrong. This is a crucial insight for every leader. If you are leading a team and you still are looking to get your way every time, you're doing it wrong. And I'm pointing out the finger here so you think about what you're doing there as a leader. We have enough bad leaders in the world. We have enough people that they say they are leaders, but they do not help the team. They just want to micromanage everything. So think about that, reflect on that to make sure that we can have healthier organizations there and we have better teams that can perform in a better way there. Don't forget this content here is part of the warm-up of the Project Management Summit. The Project Management Summit, it's an event, it's going to be 3 classes packed with content that I'm going to help you to how you can go in your project management mastery journey to develop yourself. Because guess what? It's not only knowing how to plan a project, it's not knowing Scrum, it's not knowing Waterfall. There's much more skills that you need to develop to be successful there. And again, don't forget to like and share this video here because that helps me to see that you like the video. That helps me to see the value from the content I'm creating that for you, but also it helps to go to more people and more people can learn more about leadership and we can have hopefully have better leaders around there. See you in the project management summit. Bye.